Okay, we are here again on a Wednesday to talk building wealth with wisdom to women. Don't you like all my W words? It is just something I look forward to every week so much. Normally, I've had Amber Miller because it was between her and I that we kind of um, came up with this idea to do. She was unable to be on here today, so I got my bestie, Eva, who has shared with us before. If you've been on all of these Wednesday calls, you've heard from her before. But we were just talking before we got on here how fun it is to do these things together because we literally grew up together in this business. We were both simple, and I will stress, simple stay-at-home moms. 11 years ago, when we heard about this, we had no aspirations except to raise a family for the Lord, to just love our husbands, love our children, and just, be amazing and all the above. And yet, we both love to dream, and our husbands love to dream. And so, when we wanted to achieve dreams, we found it frustrating in spite of always praying, Lord, just, we want to do bigger things for our family. We want to have this vision for our family, but we were hand-tied financially most of the time to
Mhm.
achieve those dreams. And so I'm going to share just a real brief rundown of how that went for me, and then Eva will share her story. Then we want to get into some things that are really on our hearts today. So, real fast, I'm Brenda Martin. I'm kind of known as mom who had 11 kids, and I love that identity. But really, because really, 30, well, no, 40 some years ago, that was when my dream started to have a large family. And I'm just so grateful that I was able to do that because I have so many friends who wanted to and were unable to. So that breaks my heart. But
Mm.
like I said, I'm just so blessed. Although I'm at that point where I'm a grandma now, three grandbabies and adult children. And I told my husband last night, sometimes I think I have more on my heart for helping my children, loving on them, pouring into them than I ever did when they were younger. It's just your heart expands. There's more to deal with as they get older, but I'm so blessed. I have wonderful children. Okay, so like I said, that was all I ever wanted was to be a stay-at-home mom and raise children for the Lord. Well, as our family grew, we obviously needed a bigger home. And when I say needed, it was a need. It wasn't just a want. We were in a two-bedroom house, and it was getting to where, as the boys grew, by the way, 8 sons, 3 daughters, boys who love to do all the outside things. So they bring in all their big coats and boots and all their hunting things and all their skiing things and all their everything grew as they grew. And so we truly desperately needed a bigger home. So we were praying about that. My health was just getting poor. Looking back on my journey, because I get asked this a lot. Well, of course you were poor in poor health after having 11 babies, but you have to realize I popped back between babies very well. I had wonderful, healthy pregnancies, healthy babies. Like I wasn't feeling depleted physically until the last couple babies, and it was in direct correlation to when our financial condition got extremely worse. And we were just living under a lot of stress. Things like my dad getting cancer and passing away, and um, poor financial stress, kind of a conglomeration of a lot of things in a couple of years. That's when it really went downhill. So if you understand how much your stress affects your body and your health, you understand that. Long story short, Plexus came into our life at that low point, and we wanted to say no. In fact, my husband initially said no. He said, you can try the products, but no, not that business. We're not going to be a part of one of those things. We've avoided them for 20 some years, and we're not about to touch it with a 9 foot pole at this point. And so um, it took a little bit of just discernment, praying, listening to our friends who we trusted, that this could be something worth looking at. And when he took a look, he said, you know what? I know you've talked to me about several other business things and companies you wanted to try and bring in a little income at home. This is the first one that I see worth your time. And so we went all in. And when I say all in, that's just kind of how we did it because I saw diamond checks for 20K a month. And I'm like, oh, I'm all in. Like if that's what we can do, let's do it. And so we approached it as a business from the beginning, although at the same time, on a heart level, I was just something I wanted all my friends to hear about this and help them in their health. It was just a cool side effect that this could be an amazing business for our family. And I knew the only way to make that happen was to talk to a lot of people and go all in and learn all I could. And so we had a lot of boldness and a lot of craziness in the beginning. We spent like 3K on a booth to go at this health and wellness fair, thinking like that's how you build a business, because that's how we built our traditional home business. Well, it was kind of wasted money in the sense of not really getting a return in sales, but it was a good experience. And that's how we approach the business. And so, yes, we reached that diamond level well beyond the 20K a month and beyond grateful, and are here to show and talk to you guys about that possibility for you and some obstacles we overcame to get there. Okay, Eva, can't wait to hear your story.
I was literally visualizing you with 8 sons in a 2-bedroom house and bringing, like, I have a big house now. We used to live in I've lived in many tiny shacks, like literal shacks. Big house now. And I get so annoyed when my kids bring all their stuff in the entrance and I only have 5. And I'm like, I was just imagining, oh my, the chaos and the stress. Okay. I'm glad you have this beautiful big house now. And I know that you use it to serve in so many ways. Okay, so I'm Eva Schmidt, for those of you who don't know. I also joined 10, it's 11 years, isn't it? It's 11 years ago already. Yeah, Brenda and I truly did grow up together in this business and went through all the doubts and fears and things together and grew each other. Iron sharpens iron. That was us. Um, we joined because we wanted a different future for our family. As in, I had always in my gut had a feeling like I'm meant for more. Like more, I'm supposed to be doing more. It wasn't like this dissatisfied thing with being a mom. I just knew I had the capacity to do more than just that. And I didn't like make myself feel bad for wanting that, because I saw so many amazing women like leading and things that I felt like maybe one day I could be brave enough to do that. So when this was presented to us, it's kind of the same thing. Like my first initial thought was like, oh, it's a scam. Like all of those thoughts. That was all cleared up very quickly by evidence and facts. But I had this like image in my head that people who do this, or women who do this, they're like on a stage, they're fancy. Like I had a thing about being fancy. They're fancy and they're just like hoity-toity. And they're like, I had all these judgments about what women are like on these stage, like in the spotlight. And that's just not who I was like, I could never be that. I was just judging it too. You cannot be what you judge. So if you're judging people for being rich and wealthy, then that is very likely not going to happen to you. You will not become what you judge. And this is what I was judging, like this image of who I might have to become. But I had just a good talk with God and myself that I would not change. My identity would not change if I did this thing. I would not change because God stays the same and I'm going to be worshiping the one true God. I would not change. Um, but I had this idea in my head of how women who do these things look. And when I realized that I had a fear of it, or like being kept from it for a reason, that if I had this fear, then I wouldn't move forward in it. And I recognize that within myself. I love questioning myself when I feel fear. Why is it there? And realizing that, like the Proverbs 31 woman, she was on stage. People saw her at the gate. People saw her and knew what she did. And her light was bright, and they knew what she did. They knew that she worked with integrity. They knew that she was there to make money. They knew who she was and what she did. And her husband was proud of her. People were amazed by her. She's mentioned so like royally. Is that the right word to say? Like and that's the image I had to trade for myself when I was comparing, like judging this woman that would be this. That's why we can never judge what someone's intention is, like in their heart and what they're actually doing and what they look like, just because you might feel that way. But anyway, so when I got over that fact, I was like, okay, how do I do this business? Because we need it. We need it big time. I want something different for my family. I want to at least be able to take them on one vacation. That was literally like my biggest thing. How do I do this so that we don't have to have debt? How do I make this like sustainable long term. I don't want to just talk to my friends and then they dislike me because I'm doing this weird thing and then I lose my friends. Like, how do I make this sustainable? So, my goal from the beginning was to make new friends, whether I did this business, whether they joined the business, whether they ever did this with me, whether they were interested in it or not, that I would become someone influential to share good things and light things of the light that God has shared with me, that I would share that with them, whether it was about business or not. So that took all the pressure off of me to be something, but just to share what wisdom was given to me, and that it doesn't always have to be about the business. So I was going to make new friends, make new connections, talk to new people, and become someone of influence outside of the business. So this is something that if you're interested in doing this business or starting and you're worried about like where to find new friends or where to talk to new people because you only have a few or whatever, that's also a mindset thing. Brenda, I think, is going to talk more about that. But to visualize yourself doing this and becoming a person who brings value and service to other people outside of this business. It's not like you're going to become friends with people just to get them in the business. You have value outside of this. You have things to share with them outside of this, and they have things to bring to you. And so that was a mindset shift I had to do in order to view this business as sustainable for me. That I can do this long term because I can always find more people. God can always bring more people to me. Anyway, sorry, Brenda, I went off on a big rant there. That's kind of my
Perfect. I
long
think
story
everybody's,
short.
no, everybody's soaking it all in. It was lovely. And here's
That
the
was
thing.
kind of my training mixed in with my story, but long story short,
Yeah.
um, that's what served me the most in my business was to view people as a huge part of my life outside of the business, but knowing that if they were meant to be in my business or I was meant to work with them, that that could happen. If I was staying connected with them and bringing them value, that that would happen. And then making new friends, talking to new people, because the products in the business are just so amazing, they speak for themselves. Um, our life completely changed through that. Being able to be completely debt free, being able to build a home that just, oh my gosh, my table is so large. That was my dream to have a really long table. I could invite as many people as I wanted. And that dream came true. And now our goal, like Brenda and I, we just want that for other people, that they can be bold in sharing this because it is good. It is done with integrity. It is done the right way. And it is done with like people's hearts in mind.
Aw. And honestly, I feel like Eva, you could take the rest of the time to share about this because it is truly your strength where you have just grown such a beautiful community of women because you are so good at exactly everything you said. She does not just um, talk, she walks the talk. And I know a lot of your people on here know exactly what I'm talking about. And it's why you grew such a business. And this is what we wanted to just touch on a little bit here. But I want to just quick first say, any of you who are listening to this and are just new, the part of the company that we are a part of is truly special and really at such a good place for growing a business. They are debt free. They have products that everyone needs that works, that you can be conscience free in sharing because they are clean
Mhm.
and good for everyone. And so I just recently talked to a friend who is in our company. She's doing well, but she has other people who see she's doing well in other companies and want her to switch from us and go join others. And she said she got a lot of invitations to do that. And she honestly took a look at some just to see what they would be like. And she's watching these friends in the business. And after a year or two of this, she said, there is just hands down, no question, I'm in the right place. There's no other business that is doing as well. She watched some of these businesses fail or go downhill, do things unethical. And I'm just so proud of a company that
Mm.
has always taken the high road and done things ethical and kept us out of trouble and is going strong and paying their people so well. Okay, so all that to say, one of the biggest words I want you to remember while we share the rest of these next 15 minutes is connection. Connection with people is so important for life. I think it's just a normal people skill we should all work on developing. And like Eva said before, this opportunity came along, she was enjoying making friends. And someone put in the comments that she was good at making friends before. And I can say the same. My husband and I would intentionally try to connect with a lot of with new people. Like if we'd hear of, oh, this homeschooling family or family of many or just a little bit of like-mindedness, maybe an hour or two from us, we would try to connect with them and maybe even go visit them. We were always doing connections like that for years before Plexus came along. And so when I started sharing Plexus on social media, I had friends all over the US. And to this day, my team, my organization of tens and 20,000 or whatever it is now people are all over the US, Canada, and Mexico because of these connections we made. I don't have just people in my own community. I love when people can build this business with local friends and build a strong local community. I have friends who have hundreds just right around them because of that. But connections, you guys, it's so important. And like Eva said, you don't connect with people and try to build friendships just to get them in the business, but you know that you have blessings to offer them, and so why not befriend everybody? But try to make those genuine connections with people. That's what the Proverbs 31 woman did. When I just took a look at her a little bit closer the other day, I realized that she was influential. And I
Hmm.
think that's why she had the success she did. She tried to be a blessing to others. She hired people, she delegated, she organized. And then to do that, you have to be influential. You have to have people around you that you are pouring into and blessing. You're making people better around you by bringing them into your world that you're trying to make better. And she wasn't just hiding away at home, popping stuff on social media, hoping that people would just, like what she has. She was very much involved in the lives of people. So I like to think, I love that word influential. It used to intimidate me a little bit, but now I'm realizing all it is just blessing others.
Hmm.
Just wanting to love on people is really all that is. It's so simple, we can all do it. And we all know to grow anything of substance in business, you have to have leadership skills. And that's all it is being influential. So that's my thoughts on um, just kind of introductory to one of the best skills you can learn is connecting with people and loving on people. Eva, do you have some practical stuff for us?
Well, I just totally realized while I was talking that I like was supposed to tell my story and not go on all that, and I was supposed to wait for you, and that's why I stopped. I
That's
was
fine.
waiting. Oh my gosh, yeah. Okay. I
I told you
anticipate
to just share whatever comes to your heart. So it doesn't, there's no script here.
um so what would be something, what would be
Like ways to do these connections.
the biggest fear that people would have? Like if you have new people wanting to do this business, or if you're looking to do this business, or if you haven't been good at making new friends, like what is the fear there? Like that they won't like you, that I won't have value to bring to them, or like what, if anyone wants to put in the chat what comes up for them when they're like, no, I can't do that. I can't be that friendly. I can't make that many friends. I can't. What is the thought that is behind that? That's what I would be curious about. Because I do hear sometimes women saying, well, I don't have value to share. Um, I don't know what I would bring to them. I would very much encourage you to also realize that when you're connecting with like-minded women, it's not just you bringing things to them, you're also learning from them. In order to learn from them, you have to ask questions and be curious. That's going to be a huge part of this. If you are curious to learn and you recognizing you don't know everything and you need help and you need friends, it's going to be so much easier for you to connect with people when you're being curious and you're asking questions, which also means you need to be vulnerable about where you're at and sharing hard things that are happening and not shutting yourself off. A lot of women feel very alone and they're not making new friends because they think they're the only ones dealing with what they're dealing with. And then they don't ever go out and share that or ask questions or connect with women. Um, I'm not very good at reading comments while I'm talking, so
Well,
if one
yeah,
pops up,
I'll
let me
cover
know.
a couple of those. Go ahead.
Um, But my favorite way of finding new friends and connecting with new people is thinking about what am I interested in? What could I talk about for 30 minutes straight because I love it. It's fun, it's interesting to me. I'm learning about it right now. I don't know if it's sourdough. I feel like everybody's trying to do sourdough. So there's lots of sourdough people, but like what are you into right now? And then you can find Facebook groups, Instagram hashtags. You can find those people everywhere. All I do is like go in a Facebook group that's about that topic. I go in the search bar, type in Christian because that's important to me. Like that's already something we're connected on. We can always talk about Jesus, but we can also talk about whatever you went in the group for. And so that is right away you can make those connections with people by recognizing that you have something in common that you both love and you learn from each other. Connections is not just like having a fun conversation and not going anywhere, but you're learning things from each other. In order to do that, you have to ask questions. So if you don't know how to ask questions, doesn't John Maxwell have a book about this?
Yeah.
We love John Maxwell around here. Um, Good Leaders Ask Good Questions. Is that the name of the book? Something like that. Or Influential People Ask Good Questions. I'm not sure what it is, but you could just Google what are great questions to ask people to connect them with if you feel like you can't just naturally think of some. And the more you practice, the better you'll get at that. Fear of rejection. Um, I always think the fear of rejection thing comes down to how you view your own identity and who God made you to be. The pain of rejection, we all feel it. We know what it feels like. It doesn't feel good, but it hurts way less when you know who you are and it's not against you. It may be assuming the best. If someone is not replying to you or doesn't like you or assumes the worst about you, assuming that they're having a hard day, assuming the best, that it's not actually about what you initially feel like it's about.
I love that.
I would definitely dig into that with you, Jamie, about the fear of rejection and how you feel like you're being viewed or what you believe how God sees you or what you believe about yourself.
So another thing that came up quite a bit over here in the chat was just feeling like you don't have much to offer, like you're just small and insignificant. And trust me, been there, done that, dealt with that so much in my life. But partly what helped me really overcome that was just getting interested in them, taking me out of the equation more and just asking questions, just like Eva said, just care about them. And
Mm-hmm.
I literally had to, especially on social media, as I'm getting to know newer people, have notes in my notebook or my phone or wherever kind of about them so that I don't forget some of the things that we've talked about and the things that like matter to them and
Mm-hmm.
get to know them and review those things before my next conversation with them. Because that's really what we do in real life. I mean, hopefully in real life you're having a lot of these connections too, but excuse me, got tickle. So much of us do connect with people on social media now. And it's just a little bit different because it's not like you're sitting down having a one-on-one conversation. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's a little more ongoing, like you connect every other day or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so just getting to know them and really trying to understand what's going on in their life is a way to add value to them. I'm gonna have to go to a drink.
Poor Brenda. I did that yesterday. I choked on a red pepper flake and that was almost died on Zoom. Okay. That would not be a good way. Um, what does Julie say? How to move from seeing them commenting on their posts. Oh, okay. So you're connecting with them in post already, but how to get to actually having a conversation with them? Do you not message them and be like, "Hey, I really liked what you said on that post. Can I ask you a question about that?" Or I really enjoyed your input there. Do you have a link for that? Do you like just questions that you can ask them privately instead of basically what you would say in the post or in the comments is what I would message them in person. Oh, it looks like we're not friends. I'll send you a friend request real quick. Doesn't it's not that they always accept, but yeah, be with them like you would in your own living room.
Yeah, I love that. And just to remind you guys that the title of our class every week is Building Wealth with Wisdom. So that's what we want to just convey to you, those of you who are in the process of building a business from home as stay-at-home moms, or if you're interested in that, I want you to know that it is possible, but it's not magical. And that's the thing I think I was always worried about with a business opportunity like this. When I see people talk about it, talk about big money, I'm like, oh, that sounds wonderful. It must be like just for certain people. It only works for some people, or they must have just, have special luck or something. But I'm realizing it truly is skill. And that skill is just loving on people is really the
Mhm.
foundation of most of the skills. And so it's just so fascinated to really think of the Proverbs 31 woman in that light of being influential
Mhm.
because she poured into other people. And sometimes as stay-at-home moms, this is the other thing even I talked about. We feel like we don't really have anything more to pour into anyone else because we're already doing so much for our own families. And I know I remember going through that, especially when my kids were younger. I still think of that now and then. Like they are my priority. They're where I put my first energy. But y'all, there is just something about touching other people's lives that, first of all, I think the example it sets for your kids is powerful.
Mhm.
If you want them to ever feel like they can impact others' lives, like so they aren't just selfishly focused on their own only,
Mhm.
it's a great example set for them. Skills to
Mhm.
pass on to them.
Yes.
And
And also, if you're going along the topic of sometimes I don't feel like I have enough emotional energy or heart capacity to do it, it's a reminder that to find the friendships, to find the people that you do enjoy talking to, so it feels fun and engaging. And then you're not anybody's therapist. If you're talking to somebody who's like draining your energy a lot and they're just like bringing all their problems to you, you can pray for them, you can direct them into some resources, but you're not obligated to like, okay, now I need to make friends with this person when they actually need help from someone who knows more than you. I've been caught in that. So
yes.
that's a reminder to myself, but it's really just bringing hope to other people that this is good. This is this is done right. You can do this. You have the skills. Anything that's holding you back is probably just a thought that's not true, a fear that is not true. A mindset shift is probably all that you need. Like mine, imagining being hoity-toity on a stage was literally a thing in my brain that was keeping me from starting. Like that's who I would be. That would be my whole image. And guess what? Now I do go on stage and I do have a spotlight on me sometimes, and it still does feel uncomfortable, but I'm there with the right reason in my heart, and I know that I've helped people. But anyway, yeah, that is just a little story about how that was one of my things. So everyone has their own things that holds them back sometimes and makes them feel like less than or
Mhm.
years. But
And I had the fear of needing to go on stage or being involved in any leadership aspect because I didn't want it to take up any more of my time. I felt like I didn't
mm,
have extra time. I wanted to pour it all into my family. And what I found is that you can how do I say it? Your capacity expands.
mhm,
He that is faithful in that which is least is also faithful in much. And I think God just gives you so much grace. Well, there's also the whole thing of you feel grateful and like you want to give and share when you've been so blessed. So don't forget, guys, what you're holding in your hands should make you so motivated to want to touch others' lives that it's not even
mhm,
a effort. It just flows from you. And so I think that's the beauty of being a part of something like this.
mhm. That's so
Okay.
good.
We are kind of at the time where we normally stop. So I think we'll take a pause and